Hello friends, welcome once again to this step-by-step for PHP and object-oriented programming course. In this part, we are going to learn about basic HTML programming. We can create web pages using hypertext markup language, which is full form for HTML. An HTML document can be displayed in a web browser. The extension for creating an HTML document is .html. So in this part we'll learn some basic tags of HTML. So in the various parts we will learn about basic tags of HTML, and after learning basic tags you will be able to create a web page. So to create a web page I am using Notepad++ here. You can use any text editor like Sublime or anything. So in a Notepad++ I will open a new tab here, and this is a blank notepad. In this blank notepad I will teach you how we can create HTML. So in order to write HTML language, because HTML is also a programming language and this language is used to create web pages. Any web page that you see on web is actually created using HTML. So now to create HTML we first have to write some tags. A tag has these angular brackets. So this is angular bracket open, angular bracket close. So this is less than and greater than sign here, and in between less than and greater than sign we write HTML. This is an opening tag. So in HTML most of the tags have pairs. So most of the tags are in pairs. So there is a opening tag and hence there is a closing tag also, and in a closing tag there is a forward slash. So you can write it like this. So this is your basic HTML. So HTML tag is created here, and we can now save this document. So to save this document I am using my website folder. I am saving this document in my website folder, which is inside htdocs, and htdocs is inside XAMPP, and XAMPP is inside C drive in my case. So in my C drive I am storing this document in htdocs and in my website. So I told you how we can create this folder my website in the previous example, and this time the document that I will store will have HTML extension. So I will save it like home.html. You can give any name to your documents. I am giving it a name of home. You can write it as home.html, and if you are using Notepad++, so you can click save. If you are on simple Notepad, make sure that instead of normal text you will choose all files. So if you will choose all types, then the extension that you have mentioned there, so your file will be saved in that particular extension, that is HTML. Now save it. Now you can see here as soon as this document was saved in HTML format, so Notepad turned the tags into blue. And if you will now go to this language, and if you will go to H here, so you can see that we have HTML selected. So Notepad understands these languages, and this will show us some suggestions also. For example, if I will go to my tag, so where that tag is ending, so it will show me that also. If you are on some other text editor, then they have their own ways of storing tag and coloring tags, and if you will hover to any tag, then you will definitely see where is it ending. You can see a line here also. In this line you can see that this line is ending here, and everything that we have to write in a HTML document should be written inside these tags. Now in HTML tags there are a couple of tags that are very basic tags that should be there in every HTML document. So first such tag is head, and in head there is a tag which is called title tag, and the work of this title tag is to give a suitable title to our document. So this particular file is just like a text document, but it is in HTML format. So hence it is a web page. And when you have created this, and if you'll go in your htdocs, and if you'll go in your website, then you will see that this HTML file here has an icon of Firefox browser here, because in my case Firefox is the default browser, and the type of file that you can see here is Firefox HTML document. If I will double click on it, so you can see that this file is now open. Because there is nothing written here, that's why we are unable to see anything. And you can see that no title is assigned to this document here. Files of type HTML can be seen in a browser. There is no need to run any type of server, and that's why when I double clicked on that file, so when I double clicked on that particular file, so in Firefox browser that file was open. So here you can see that file opened in the Firefox browser, and here you can see that we are seeing file here. When you open a file using your server, so our server is localhost, you have to remember that when Apache and MySQL is running in XAMPP, so when you will click on admin, so you will see that your localhost server will run. And now if you will navigate to your directory where your files are saved, so you will see the default file. By default file I mean a file which is saved as index.php. Indexed is used for something which is called first. So this is your default file. If I will rename this index file as something else, let's say not index, or I can name it anything. Now in this case, if you will again open your file, so now you will see that my home.html file is opening here, and because that file is not indexed, so any file that is named as home.html, index.html, default.html, so the web pages like that are considered as default pages. So we'll explain about this later, but for now our file is saved as home.html, and we can see our file by double clicking it. We can also see our file by going to the server here, localhost. In this server I will open my directory, that is my website, and in my website directory there is a file called home.html. So by this way you can open your file. Now let's write something here. I have not written anything inside this title, so let's say we are learning HTML. So now I have written something in my title here, and now again if you will go to your browser and if you will refresh it, so you will see that so after refreshing it for the second time, so I was able to see a title here. So sometimes by refreshing one time it doesn't work, so you have to reload or refresh it more times. Now here you can see one thing here. Now our document has a title, and you can see whatever web pages are, you can see here. So in every web page you can see that some title is written. This title helps us in recognizing that which particular page is open and what is the meaning of this page. Again, this title here is also useful for search engine optimization. So because this web page will be indexed by search engines, so search engines will look for this title to search for this particular page. Whenever you type something and whenever you type a keyword in Google search or in Bing search, so Google search looks for, the first thing that Google search looks for is the title of. So this title is not the only thing that is considered by search engines for ranking of a web page. So there are many other things, and things like meta description, things like ranking of your own website, the quality of content, many things are there. But you should always remember that we have to write relevant title to our HTML documents, and the information that you will provide in your web page, your title should be relevant. Now there are many ways of opening this particular file. First way is where your file is saved. So we have saved the file in XAMPP, htdocs and my website folder. So where your file is saved, you can double click HTML file, and then you can see, using the file protocol, your computer's file is open, the document is of HTML type, and that's why we are opening it on a browser. So if the document was of a text type, so you can open it on a notepad. If the document is of doc or docx type, so you can open those documents on Microsoft Word or other software. So because your file is of HTML type, this is one way. And another way is to run your XAMPP control panel. Make sure that Apache and MySQL module are running here. And when Apache and MySQL module are running, I will fix this. So when your Apache and MySQL are running, then you can type localhost in your browser. Type localhost, and your directory will be visible to you here. So this directory is actually the htdocs directory. So in your XAMPP folder, there is this htdocs directory, and whatever you are viewing there is your htdocs directory. So I will do one thing. These files that I have here, I will cut these files because these are my SQL files, which I have saved for tutorial. So I will put them in a folder SQL files. So you can see here, we can manage directories inside this htdocs, and I have pasted all the SQL files here. Also these remaining files also I will paste here, so that my directory will look something like your directory. So in case of your installation of XAMPP, when you will open htdocs, you will see something like this. You will have some more files here. So I have only deleted the index.php file that is there. We can get rid of this dashboard also. So you can do one more thing. You can delete everything that is inside your htdocs and then create simply a new folder which is called my website, or you can name it anything. So create a new folder, and then now when I will refresh it, so you will see I will only see my directories, and in my directories there is this my website directory. And whenever you will open this my website directory, so its default file will open. You have to remember this. If its default file is will open, and in this case, because I have named the file as home.html, you have to remember this. If your file is named as home.html, if your file is named as index.html, if your file is named as index.php or home.php, so file names like this are considered as default or welcome page, and that's why when I have opened this directory, so you can see the home.html file here. We can verify it from the title here. Let's change the name of this file, so then you will be able to understand. Let's change the name from, let's say, home to mypage.html, because I can give any name to my page. Now this website is mypage.html, and now because there is no such file which is called home.html, index.html, index.php or home.php, so it is showing us the files. So you have to make sure that whenever you are creating a website, you have a file that is either index.php or index.html. You must have these files. If you are creating a static website, so in that case, for a static website where you will not need databases, where you will not connect to any external source for fetching dynamic data. So in that case, you can connect with index.html, and if your website is dynamic or for some reason you are creating a PHP website, so in that case, make sure that you have a file called index.php. That is your welcome file, or that is your default file, so that whenever someone will open your website, so they can see that particular file. Now I can click on mypage.html. So this is the second way of opening this HTML file. Again, we can only open HTML files in such a way, because HTML is a static language and it is a client-side language, and hence it can be seen on browser. So if you will press Ctrl plus U here, so this is another interesting thing. Open any HTML file and press Ctrl U here, and when you will press Ctrl U while opening any HTML file, so you will see the source here, and in the source you can see that we have our HTML file, the code that we have written in the backend. We can see the code here. So because we have renamed the file, so it is telling us we have renamed this file. So now, because I have renamed this file, I have to open it again in my editor. So now you can see the file that we have here, which is called mypage.html. Now this same file, the same code is here also. So we can view source by right clicking and view page source, and we can also view source by pressing Ctrl plus U. So the shortcut for viewing source in most of the browsers is Ctrl plus U, and it might be Command plus U in Mac OS. So now because we are seeing this file, so now it's time to make some more changes to our HTML file, because we want to show some information also. Currently we are able to see only the title here. We are only seeing the document title and we are not seeing anything else. So to create information or to provide information to your viewers, there is another tag in HTML that is called body, and inside body, so this body tag does the work of saving the information that is to be displayed to viewers, or writing the information that will be displayed to the viewers. So in the head part, we mostly have that information which is meta information. Meta information is tells something about the web page, and it provides the meta details. For example, meta details of a song are what is the length of that song, who is the singer, from which album that song is taken, what is the type of file. So for example, meta information for a song is that, and whenever you play a song in your phone or in any player, so you see that meta information. In the same way, for a website also there is meta information. That meta information is saved in the head. For example, there is one more tag here, that this tag is called meta tag. Meta tag can be written to provide meta information, and this meta information is read by the web crawlers, and it is read by Google bot, Bing bot. So it is read by Google bot, or you can say Google crawler, Bing bot. So these are search engine bots, and whenever a web page is indexed in Google search or Bing search, so your page is scanned by these crawlers and they read information from these tags. So for example, there is a simple meta tag called meta name is equal to author, and content is equal to, let's say author is slideshow. So you can write anything here, you can write your name here. So this is meta name is equal to author, that means it is giving an information that author of this content that we are writing here, the article that is written here or the information that is written here, the author is this particular name, and this meta tag has a name. This name here is called attribute of meta tag. So the things that we are seeing in red here, so this is a tag and this name is the attribute and author is the value of that attribute. Similarly, content is another attribute of this tag. So tags have many attributes. Every tag has some attribute. So or every tag can have some attribute, but in this time at this time this meta tag has name and content attribute. Author is the value of name attribute and slide scope is the value of content attribute. And to close meta tags, we simply place a forward slash at the end. So just before the closing angular bracket, you put a forward slash. So meta tags are saved in such a meta tags can be closed like this. Because we don't have to write some information in meta tag, we have to simply provide information here as attributes. So again, we'll read more meta tags in future. This time our focus is on body and some basic HTML tags. And the first HTML tag, suppose we have to write an article. So to write an article, we must have a heading and we must have a paragraph. So these are the two things that we should have if we have to write some article. So let's say there is no such tag called heading. There is tag called h1. So for heading we have tags h1, h1, h2, h3, h4, h5 and h6. These are 6 heading tags that we have for creating headings in our web pages. So whenever you see a web page, you see some heading there. For example, let's take example of this web page here. This is a web page. This is home page of slidescope.com website. In this website, you will see, look at the fonts here, and I just want you to focus here. So in this case, you can see we have some headings here, and we have some headings here like what do we offer is a heading. Then after that heading we have some paragraph here, right? So the font of this paragraph is smaller than of this heading. So whenever we have to write article or you have to provide information on a web page, so you have to write it in such a way that there will be some headings and there will be some paragraphs also. Headings will be of different sizes. So you can see that this heading is bigger and this is a smaller heading because this is kind of we are telling what do we offer, and then whatever we are offering we have written here. So the same let's say about this website. In this website most of the content is written in Hindi language, and you can see that for every article we have some heading and then some paragraph. So whenever you will open any website, you will see heading and paragraph. So bigger headings are written in h1. So h1 is the biggest heading and h6 is the smallest heading. The size of h6 is smaller. So let's write something here that we can write welcome to my website. So I will write this information in every tag here, and you can see that there is opening h1 tag and closing h1 tag, or opening h2 and closing h2, and whatever information we have to write, we write the information inside that tag. So between the opening and closing tag we write information. Same is the case with this title tag here. So because we have written information inside this title tag, and you can also look that we are doing everything inside HTML tag. And then because we want to show this information to our end user and not the bots, so we want to show this information to end user, that's why we are writing it in body. So, and now you will see that I will delete this paragraph here. And now when I have saved changes here by clicking save, so you can go here and save every, because I have saved it, so it is not appearing. So whenever you make a change here, you will see that it turns red, so you can save here. So in any code editor, make sure that whatever changes you are making, you are saving that also. I will also share some other code editors, how to use some other code editors in some other part of this video series. Now after saving it, again go to your browser and refresh the page. So I will refresh it once again. Sometimes because of cache memory, it shows the old information. So I have simply reloaded the page. Now you can see that the headings that I have written there, you can see those headings here. Welcome to my website, welcome to my website, and you can see the size here. So H1 has biggest size heading and H6 has the smallest size heading. So as per your requirement, you can choose any particular heading. So the main heading that we write, or the main heading that we provide in a page, is mostly H1. This should be the biggest heading. It has name of our website. It has welcome to our website or something like what do we offer. Some call to action can be here. Then after heading, there is paragraph tag. So to write a paragraph, we simply write p tag, and there is no such thing like p1 or p2 or p3, but we have p tag. P tag is for paragraph. And before paragraph, I want to show you one more thing. Suppose I write paragraph tag, and because I am teaching this to you, or I want to provide some instructions to my developers, so I can write paragraph tag, and I can do one more thing here. Write angular bracket, exclamation mark, two hyphens. So angular bracket, exclamation mark, and two hyphens, and then two hyphens and a angular bracket close. This is called comment in PHP. This particular thing is called comment in HTML. Sorry, this is called comment in HTML because we want to provide some instructions to our viewers, or we want to provide some instructions to our developers mainly. So this comment is not executed in the front end. So whenever we write a comment, it is not executed. So there is a simple way to write a comment. Again, I will tell you: angular bracket, exclamation mark, two hyphen signs, and comments are not executed. Now, so these comments will not be visible on front end. It will only be visible in the source. So because I want to instruct you that this is heading tag, this is paragraph tag. So that when this, because I will share this code with you, so that you can understand from the code that is from here we have heading tag. Now heading tag open, we can write something like heading tag open and heading tag closed, then paragraph tag open and then paragraph tag closed. So there is a shortcut if you are using Notepad++. In Notepad++, there is a shortcut. So shortcut for comment, for creating a comment is move your cursor to that line. Make sure your cursor is on that line, and if you want to make that line as a comment, so hit Control K. So just hit Control K. So shortcut is Control plus K for comment in Notepad++. So now we have to write some paragraph here, and we can write something like welcome to this awesome website. So in your opening paragraphs, you mostly provide some introduction. So we are learning PHP web development, and you can write anything here. So your paragraphs can have any number of characters. Your heading can have any number of characters. So there can be any number of words in your heading. There can be any number of words in your paragraph. It depends upon what type of information you have to provide. So you can see here that we have written some paragraphs here, whatever paragraphs. So you can see various paragraphs. Also for the blog post that we have some headings and paragraphs. So the second thing that is really important in a website is paragraphs. So because we cannot write everything in headings, so we have heading and a paragraph. And now save your page by going to save or hit Ctrl S. Again go to the browser in which you are viewing your web page. When I will refresh it, now you can see a paragraph here also. So by default HTML, in HTML, a size is there for headings, a size is there for a paragraph, but we can later change it as per our liking also when we'll study CSS. So CSS means styling of a web page. So when we'll style our web pages, so we can change their style, we can change their color, we can change the font family, we can change their size, everything we can change using CSS. But for now, for basic, you just have to create a web page with one heading and one paragraph. Make sure that you can achieve that, and then in the next part we will study more tags. Hello friends, and welcome to this step-by-step core PHP and object-oriented programming course. We are studying basic HTML programming. Remember, if you want to create applications using PHP, if you want to create applications using ASP.NET, if you want to create applications using Python Django or Python Flask framework, so if you want to create any web application, so you must have knowledge of HTML, you must have knowledge of CSS, and you must have knowledge of JavaScript. So we are learning basic HTML programming here, and in the previous part we studied about some tags. We studied two tags. One was the heading tag and second was the paragraph tag. Whenever you have to create a web page, something like this, if you have to create, so in many cases you have to provide heading and paragraphs. You can see various sections here. So we have various headings and paragraphs, and next tag that is here is you can see an image here also. So we'll start from image in this part, and so I will write a comment here. So image tag, for image tag I have provided a comment here so that we can understand that we are learning image tag now. And for image tag we have a tag called img. So img is a tag, and in img we write some attributes. So because inside img we cannot paste images here, we have to provide source of that image. So we should have some file and we should have some source of that image. So img src is equal to something. So img src, in this img src we put the source of our image. This source can be from a website also. So this source can be here, the source of image I will write. So the source of image can be external and it can be internal. So source can be external and internal. First I will show you the external source. So suppose we have some image on web. Let's say we have this image on web, or let's say we have this image on web. So I can right click on any particular image and I can copy the image location here. So you can copy the image location, right click on any image, copy image location, and then that image will be copied. Or we can copy this image also, copy image. And when your image is copied, go to img src and paste the image here. So paste the source that you have copied here. So you can see here that we have the source of this image is really big. And if you will go to your browser and you will simply type it, so you will see that that image is now being presented here. So that means we can see the image, and that's why we can paste it as a source. So img src is equal to this particular big source here, and in the end you will see something like .jpg, .png, .bmp. So for image, the most common types of extensions are .jpg and .png. When it comes to sharing images on web, most of the times you will see images in JPG, PNG, and in some cases GIF also. So animated images are saved in GIF format. So now if you have to make multiple line comment, so I can start my comment there and I can end it in the third line. So it is a multiple line comment, and I will name it as common extensions of images. These are common extensions of images, and JPG, PNG, GIF. In this case are images of JPG, and JPG is most suitable for sharing images on web pages, because when it is compared to PNG, JPGs have a lower storage size. So JPG images have a lower storage size, and that's why it is suitable for web pages, because your web pages will open more quickly if your images will be of lower size. So now it's time to reload this page, and when I will reload this page, you can see that we can see the image here. So the image that was on some particular website, we copied the image from there and we can display it. Remember, in many cases there is some copyright issue while copying images from anywhere, so we cannot just go there and copy images from anywhere. So make sure that you have the rights to copy that image, you have the rights to use that image. There are many websites, so I will share a website with you. It's a very nice website. It's called Pixabay, and in Pixabay you will find royalty free images. So most of the images that you will see here are royalty free, and you can download the images from here. Suppose we want to share some image, let's say we want to share this image. So when you will open this image, you can see here that it is displaying Pixabay license and free for commercial use, no attribution required. You can save this image. So now we have already discussed how we can display an image that is on some external server. Now how can we display the image which is internal? That means in this case you will save the images in the folder in which your other files are. So you can see here that in our case our files are in htdocs and my website. So in your website you will create a folder. It's not necessary to create a folder, but it always is good to create a folder called images, because now your code will be properly organized. So every image file will be there in the images folder. Every HTML or PHP or other files will be there in one folder. So it will be easy to organize your code. So inside htdocs, I am in my website and I am saving a folder here. You can consider it as just a folder. So your website file, your web pages are in a folder, and in that folder you have to create a folder called images, and you have to save your images there. So I will quickly I will free download this file, and I will save this lighter version here. So you can save this file. So I have copied that file from downloads folder, and now I will paste it. So you can see the file name has some digits and integers here. So I will rename this file as, let's say, basket. So The name of this file is basket.jpg, and this file is saved inside a folder called images, which is inside our directory where our other website files are. And now you have to create img src here. So img src, and this time the source will not be external, so we'll not write something like http or colon forward slash then name of website, then the directories in which that image is saved. We will simply write here the name of our directory, that is images, and inside images the file is saved as basket.jpg. So make sure here we don't have to write the full path of the image. We don't have to write full path with C drive, XAMPP, then my website, then images, then basket. You have to simply start with respect to your web page here. So the web page in which you are referring this file, or in the web page in which you want to attach this image. So in that web page there is a folder called images, so you can refer it directly. You don't have to write this PC, new volume, XAMPP. You don't have to write these things, because from this web page you can access this folder directly, and that's why I am writing here. So this is if the image is one folder inside our code, so we can write it like this. And now let's save this, and let's close these files here, and it's time to execute this page. Now when you will execute this page, you will see the other file also, which was basket.jpg. We can also resize these images. These images are really taking a lot of space on our web page. So but again, this can be as per the requirement also. So there is one attribute called src. This src attribute is for providing source here. Then we have a simple attribute which is called width here, width. Width is used to provide width to our image file. Let's say I want to provide a width of 400 px. So in case of images we mostly use pixel unit. So pixel unit, so we are trying here 400 pixels here. And in this case, when you will reload your page, so you will see that your file, your image is now smaller in size, and the x and y ratio, that is the ratio of width and height, is automatically adjusted here. We can write width is equal to 400 pixel after or before source. It doesn't matter, the sequence of these attributes does not matter. So it will make your second image also. So now when the both images are smaller, so they are aligned next to each other, and now we can, but if we want, for some reason we want a different height, different than the aspect ratio, so we can provide a different height also. Let's say we want a height of 400 pixels also. So in case of web pages, the unit of distance is pixels, or the unit of length is pixels here. And you can see here that this image is now a square in shape, because its height and width are same. So again, as per your requirement, you can give your width and height. And you can also, there are two other tags that are very helpful. There's another tag called alt tag. This is stands for alternate text. So I will name it here. We have src tag, which is called source. We have width tag. We have height tag. Again, the meaning of width and height is really simple. There's a tag called alt, and this is alternate text. So if for some reason your image fails to load, suppose we have some server error. So because of some server error, or because of some spelling mistake, so if we have some mistake in the name of image or anything, so this alternate text will be displayed. So we can write it as basket image, and this is the alternate text. We can take it to another line also, so that we can completely view the attributes. First attribute is src, second is width and height, third is alt. And let's say we have written the spelling of this image wrong, so basket.jpg. And in this case, if you will load this image, so we'll see that the attribute, the alt attribute value we can see here, basket image. And again, now if the image name is correct and everything is correct and we are connected to the server, so now image will be loaded and we will not see this. So this is really important. And after alt image, we have title attribute also. And as we have a title for our web page, we have title for an image also. So the title for image can be really something like again we can give the title as basket image, or we can write a different title also. So let's say basket image title, so that we can understand the difference between alternate text and title. Now when you will reload your image, and suppose someone wants to know what is this image, so they can over their mouse. So whenever someone will take mouse over our images on our web page, so they'll be able to know that it is a basket image. Again, if you hover to your web page, you can see, so wherever we write title, in most of cases we have this simple pop-up thing here. And this is also known as tooltip. So in while while creating software tools, sometimes this tooltip is provided in order to tell that what is the purpose of this particular option and everything. So this is also very helpful. Again, writing an image in this way, writing alt and title, it also helps search engine to find this image, because by just scanning an image, it is really difficult to tell that what is this image. And there is image search engine also. And if you will write proper alt, if you will write proper title attribute, so your image will be searched and your image will appear in search results more properly. So this is the work of the various attributes that are associated with image tag. And this is how you can either provide an image with a source, the source which is external. So your image is hosted on some server and you are referring to that image directly, or you want to store your images with your website files, so that your images can be referred from there. Again, you can follow any of these methods to display images. And one more thing, you can display any number of images in your web page. So right now you can see here that we have two images. We are not talking about design right now. We are just talking about or we are just studying simple HTML tags. When we'll have information about most of the HTML tags, so we can put everything together to create a web page, to create a layout, to create something more interesting. And you can see that in this layout, you can see three columns here, 1, 2 and 3. In our case, we are only seeing one column here. So we'll study more tags, then we'll be able to understand this. Hello friends, and welcome back to the basic HTML programming part of the complete web development course. In this part, we'll discuss about lists. So for creating list, I will create a new page here. So in this page, I have told you about heading tag, paragraph tag and image tag. Now let's discuss about list tag here. So I have pressed Ctrl N here to open a new notepad file. So here I can write HTML and I can close HTML. Then we have to write head tag, and you have to close the head tag. Again, inside head tag we provide tags like title and meta description. So head tag is mainly for providing meta information, and in head tag we also link with CSS files. We can also link with external JavaScript files and everything. So the information that is displayed on a web page is not stored in head tag. It is basically written in body tag. So we can write body tag here, and let's save this page as, and I will name this page as list.html. So now when I have saved this page as .html, you can see now Notepad is able to recognize that what is the meaning of every tag here. And so whenever you will click on some tag, so you will be able to tell where it is ending. And in title tag, let's write. So we have two lists in HTML. One is unordered list and other is ordered list. So we can write unordered list and ordered list, and the part that we are discussing here is uh, there in every HTML version. So it in this, first we'll create unordered list. So unordered list, here in case of unordered list we have to write a tag which is called UL. So UL stands for unordered list, and you have to end this tag also. Now when do we need an unordered list? So suppose you have to present an unordered list of something. For example, if you have to print a list of fruits, or if you have to print a list of browsers, if you have to print a list of anything. So let's say we have to print a simple list of fruits here. So let's say we have to print a list of 5 fruits that we like, but not necessarily in any particular order. So these are 5 fruits that we like, but they are not in any particular order here. These are just 5 fruits. So in such cases you can use unordered list. And in unordered list, the first tag that you have to use is li tag. So this is called list items. So in UL is called unordered list, the UL tag is called unordered list, and the li tag is called list items, because in our list there will be several list items. So fruit names will be our list items, and let's write some fruits here. So first fruit is mango, that's why we have written it in li. So you can see here that we have UL open, UL close, and inside UL we have li. Then we can copy it 5 times. So we can write grapes, apple, you can write guava, you can also write cherry. So you can write any fruit here, any name of fruit here. We are writing 5 fruits here. So now we have this UL. So UL is closing at line number 16. It is opening at line number 10. In any code editor, you will see a line here. So you can understand that at which line we have written what part of the code. And now if you will execute this, so in order to see this page, there are again 2 ways of doing this. So it is saved inside our my website directory, and when you will click on this, so you will see that we have mango, grapes, apple, guava and cherry, and you can see a bullet here. So this small dot is called bullet here, and this is a list with bullets. So this is called unordered list, because it is a list of something, it is a list of items, but not necessarily in any particular order. We can now copy it And next is ordered list. So in case of ordered list, you simply have to write OL in place of UL. So ordered list is called OL, and you have to write OL here, and list item will be there in ordered list also. And this OL has again the same elements here. And if you have to provide a separation between something, or if you have to provide a line here, a horizontal line, so we can write a tag which is called HR tag. It is, this tag is written for creating a horizontal line. So we can write HR tag for creating a horizontal line here. And now you can see that we have a horizontal line here. This is because of HR tag. So HR tag is only the opening tag. It has no closing tag. So you can close it here also. So the tags in which closing is not required, we can closing tag is not there. We can close them by writing a forward slash sign before the closing angular bracket here. So now we have OL and UL tag here. In OL tag, you can see that we have some numbering here. So these numbers are automatically generated by HTML. Suppose there are some other items also. So for example, there is oranges or oranges, and there can be banana as well. So now I have increased the list by 2 elements, and now you can see that it is allotting some numbers here. This OL by default has this 1 2 3 4 as the order, but we can change the order also. If you will write OL type is equal to A, so in this case it will create an ordered list with A B C D. So because we have type is equal to A, if you will make the type as a small a, so your list, reload it. So your list will be created with a small ABCD. It is in order, but it is in alphabetical order. We can also write I here. So we will now see Roman numbers here, and so you can see our list is created with Roman numbers here. So this is the work of this OL tag. We can type. So I will write about this type here. What values of type can we write? Type is equal to I. Type can be A. Type can be capital A. So, and if you will not write the type, then by default it will be in 1 2 3 4 order. So this is the work of this tag here. So here we have a ordered list, and in case of unordered list also we have some attributes here. So there is an attribute called style. So this style attribute is used to write some or provide some styling to our tags. This styling is cascade styling. So you can write CSS here basically, but and we'll study about CSS later. But if you have to apply some style here, so there is a tag. So you can write it like UL style is equal to and list style type. So this is the CSS property that we can write list style type. That means what type of style we want for our list, and we have mentioned disk here. So if you will do that, then you can see that there is no change. You can make it from disk to a square, let's say, and now you can see that our bullet is now of a square shape. So there are various shapes that we can write here. So the available shapes that we can write here are disc, circle, square, and none, So you can write any of these shapes here, and it will, the bullet list, because it's an unordered list, it will be created with the help of these shapes. Let's try circle here. So again, in such list, in ordered list and unordered list, why we are studying this, because it is very important. Many times in our articles we have to provide a list of elements, and while creating web applications, by reading data from the database, you have to write that data, or you have to print that data many times in ordered list or in unordered list. So knowledge of these tags is very important here. And now let's try this circle here, and so you can see that we have a list with circles as bullet. So here also I will show you some examples. So in our examples also, suppose many times you will read articles where you will find something like top 10 something or list of something. So in case of such articles, you can see here that we have 1 2 3 4, so numbers here. So this is an ordered list here, and we can also create an ordered list inside an ordered list. So suppose we have different type of mangoes, so for that we can go with li mango, and then we can create a ul here. So we can create a ul, and suppose there are three types of mangoes also. For now I will name them as type 1, type 2 and type 3. So let's say type 1, type 2 and type 3. So you can see here that this list opened at mango. Now we have expanded it, and inside mango we have written ul here, and inside ul we have written li here. So this ul and li, this is the list, unordered list, but this unordered list is inside a list item here. So now let's execute this and see how it will look. So now you can see that we have created some hierarchy here. So if you have a group, and then if you have a subgroup, so you can write it like this, expand it, then inside that list you can write another unordered list or ordered list here. Again, this list can be ol also. So by default it will create 1 2 3. So this is here, and same thing again. If you will not write list type, let's say list type is equal to none, so execute it. So for some reason, if you don't want bullets, so you can write list type none. So you will simply have a list without bullets, and you can write disk here. So in that case it will be the default disk that we have. Now we can also write this ol inside our unordered list mango. So what we have to do here also, expand this and just paste the unordered list here. So in whichever item you have to create a sub hierarchy, you can create it like this. And now you can see here that we have this list here, and if we want to make it of type is equal to a, so that we can distinguish between first the parent list and the child list. So if you have to create a child list inside one particular item, so you can create it like this. Here I have provided list type as with 1 2 3 4 numbering, and here it is with abcd numbering, so that we can understand that this is a child list. So this is all about unordered list and list in HTML, and you can write these types of list at in many type of articles. So for example, here I have this article, and let's say what are the advantages of doing Java thing. There can be anything where we are providing advantages of something or benefits of something. So there you can see we have this unordered list here. What are the applications of Java programming? So we can see here also. So this is one way of writing it, and this is all about unordered list and ordered list. Hello friends, and welcome once again to this step-by-step web development course. In this part we are discussing about basic HTML programming. Basic HTML programming is needed for creating web applications, and in this part we are going to discuss about table tag. So in this part we will discuss about table tag. Table tag is needed because sometimes we have to display the information in form of a tabular structure. So now I will show you some examples. So I have this application called transport management system here, and in this application you can see that a transporter can manage data of vehicles. A transporter can manage data of its drivers and helpers, journey data, logistic fare management, and everything. So suppose the transporter has to view staff. So in one window, the transporter will be able to view the staff here, and you can see we have a staff name here, a staff type, phone of a staff details, and a status of a staff. If for some reason the transporter wants to edit any particular staff, so from its respective row here, so every row belongs to a different staff member, and it can edit it, and you can change. Suppose in staff details we have to provide information like this staff is from Unnao and staff phone is 1234. So now it can save here. So again, this is the data that we have here. This is called tabular data here, and how we can create such tables. We can create such tables with the help of table tag in HTML, and we'll study about table tags now. So I will create a new page here and open a new notepad, and in this notepad I will first save it as table.html. So I'm giving it a name of table.html so that we can understand that this particular web page is about tables. Again, to create a HTML document, we first have to write HTML, open HTML, close HTML, then open head, close head tag. So you can see we have opening and closing head. Inside head tag we have title tag, and now we can close the title tag. After head tag we have body tag, and body tag will be closed. So the information that we have to show to viewers is always written in body tag, and the meta information is written in head tag. So meta information and link of CSS files, link of JavaScript files, everything is written in head tag. So in this we are learning table tag. So I am providing the title as table tag. So to create a table tag, the tag that we have to write is called table. And so in table there is a opening tag and there is a closing tag also. So first I will show you an example of a basic table tag, and in this table tag we have rows and columns. So for example, suppose in this example here you can see here we have 4 rows here, and every row belongs to a different staff member, and we have 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 columns here. So this is a table with 6 columns and 4 rows. So we can create something like this. So that's why when you have to create a row, so the tag for creating a row is called a tr tag. And so we have 4 rows, so we can create 4 rows here, but in every row you can see there are 6 columns. So I will create a column here, and the tag to create column is called td. So TD is for column of table and TR is for row of table. So suppose we want to create a row with 4 columns. So one column, 2, 3 and 4. We can create a row with any number of columns, but the number of columns in each row of a table should be same. Again, this table tag is very much important for programming because in programming we have CRUD operations, right? So we have create, read, update and delete operations. So for read, update and delete operations, this table is really important because we read data mostly in tabular format. When we have to read data of our staff, suppose you have to manage data of students in a school, you have to manage data of teachers in a school or staff in a school, and then you have to update their information. You just saw an example that how I updated the value there, and then you can delete the information also. So for update, we provide some buttons here. So I will close it. So we provide some buttons here so that information of this particular person can be edited. So, and not just for viewing your records, tabular data can be helpful in writing some tabular information also. Suppose you have to provide information about various countries and their population and their area and everything. So wherever you need tabular data, you can apply a table there. So now I have created a table here, and in this table there are 4 rows which you can clearly see. We have 4 rows here, and in these 4 rows we have 4 columns. And so the first column we'll have some values here. Let's say this is 1, then we can write name of someone. Let's say this is phone number and this is city. Then we have 2, let's say Sohan, phone number of Sohan is 321 and Sohan is from Madurai. Let's say we have another staff member here, John, and phone number of John is 124. Let's say John is from Goa, and we have 4, which let's say Deepak. Phone number of Deepak is 456, and let's say Deepak is from Aurangabad. So we can write something like this. So we have the serial number of our staff member, we have name of our staff member, phone number of our staff member, and the city from which this particular staff member belongs. This is first type of table, and when you will create this table, again I have created this table in my website here, and in my website you can see here that I have this table .html. I can either double click to open this file, or because my XAMPP is running here, so and I have saved the file inside a directory which is in htdocs of XAMPP, so I can also access this file using local server here. So I will type localhost, and after typing localhost I will navigate to the directory in which this file is saved, and then I can click the name of this file. So now you can see here we have a tabular structure, and still you cannot see the table, but you can see that data is in tabular format. If you want to see table boundaries and everything, table borders, so you can write table border is equal to, and you can write 1. So table has an attribute which is called border, and in this border attribute you can write 1, 2, 3, 4, and this 1, 2, 3 and 4 is the width of this table. So I will write a note here, table has border attribute, and in border attribute you can write 1, 2, 3 and so on. So 1 means a table with width of 1, and you can see here now we have some tabular structure here. We can also write width of table. So to provide a width of table, we can write it like a style is equal to. So using the style tag, which is used for creating or giving a style to elements. So we can write a style is equal to a style tag. There is a width. So this particular thing can be applied to any HTML element. So style is equal to width and let's say 100%. So this time I want my table width to be of 100%. 100% means 100% of the device width. When I write width or height in percent, that means I want to I'm talking about device width, in the device in which this particular file will be viewed. When you will make your width smaller, so let's say we are opening this page on a website or on a mobile. So for mobile the width is this much, and let's say for tablet width is this much, and for a web page on a desktop the width will be this much for browser. So here you can see I will make it 100%. So now you can see that the table has a width 100% of device width, and when the device width will change, so the width of this particular table will also change respectively. So this is called a responsive design approach, but we'll study about responsive design in the other parts. So now I will zoom it so that we can view the content here. And so you can write these two attributes in order to provide some width and border to your tables. We will again study more about designing in their specific part. So when I will teach you CSS, when I will teach you Bootstrap, so we will study Bootstrap, and in Bootstrap we will study about styling our tables. The table that you are seeing here is created using Bootstrap framework, and this table here is also responsive. This complete design is responsive, you can see here. So when you will view this page from a mobile browser, so it will take the width of mobile browser, and when you will view it from tablets, it will take width of tablet. When you will view it from a browser on a desktop, so it will take width of a desktop. So this is important thing. And when we'll study Bootstrap and we'll study CSS, so we'll learn more about styling. In this part you can only remember this thing, that we have a border in table, and by writing a style we can provide width to our table. Now in this table there is no heading now because here you can see we have some heading here also, and the table that we have, in this table we don't have any heading. We simply have the data and we cannot understand that which particular information is representing what data. So we can apply a heading here. To create heading we can write another tr here, and we can create. So because heading will be provided in a separate row, and for creating headings we have a tag called th. Th stands for table heading, and because we have 4 columns, so we have 4 columns here, so we have to provide 4 headings here. So let's say this is our serial number, this is name of staff, this is phone, and let's say this is city, or we can say details also. So now you can see that we have headings also, and this heading has its own styling in HTML, and we will just see when we will execute this code on browser. So now when you will view the same code on browser, reload it, Now you can see here that every heading is written in some bold letters, and it is also aligned center in the column. So automatically by writing th tag, we have aligned the headings to center, and the heading has now become bold also. This is the work of th tag. So this is how we can create a simple table in HTML, and in this table we have some tabular data, and this tabular data can be this type of tabular data can be used to represent any information, like information of a staff, information of students of a school, information of teachers of a school. It can be used to show data of a worldwide population. So in one column we can have all the countries, and in the other column we can have population. In the third column we can have density of population. In the fourth column we can have area of that particular country in kilometers. So you can create anything like that, and for that we can use this table tag. Hello friends, and now we are continuing our step-by-step core and advanced PHP course for web development. In this part, we'll discuss some tags for formatting of text. So you can see a list here, and we have bold text, strong text, italic text, emphasized mark. I will show you examples one by one. First, I am showing you the list here, and so these tags are there in HTML5, and some tags like U, which was used for underline, it was deprecated in HTML 4.01, but this tag is not obsolete. So I will also create a list of tags that were deprecated in HTML or after HTML4, and tags that were added in HTML5. So, so I will create a separate section for those tags which are new in HTML5, which were not there in HTML. So, but whatever tags we are learning, most of the tags will work in any version of HTML, because we are studying basic HTML here. But in a section of HTML5 only tags, I will tell you about those tags which are new in HTML5, and I will also tell you some tags that don't work or that are deprecated now. They will work because they are not obsolete, but they will work. But we should try avoiding those tags in modern coding. Now let's try these examples one by one. So now I am using my new notepad file here, and I'm creating HTML. If you will use something like Sublime Text, so by just writing HTML, you will see that this complete code will be written for you, so it will save your time. But because I'm teaching you, and I'm considering students of this course as a beginner, so as a beginner I want you to work on Notepad++, because here you have to type it, and when you will type it again and again, so you will learn everything from scratch. In head we have title. Let's say in this we are discussing about text formatting, and in later parts I will show you use of Sublime Text also. Sublime Text is also preferred by many developers. There are many text editors. You can go with any of your favorite text editor. So I am saving this as formatting.html, and now I will write some words here. For example, let's say we can write this word HTML and see the various versions. So if you will use a B tag, B stands for bold, and this tag is explicit in its meaning, that it will make the given word as bold. And if you will refer to the document also, it says bold text. So First is B, then after B we have a strong also. The work of these tags is same. It is the work is to make the words strong or bold. But again, I will make it as HTML is strong and HTML bold so that you can see the difference. HTML bold, and I will put a break between these lines. So this BR tag is used to put a break between lines. If we will not use BR, first I will show you the example of these two tags without BR, and then I will show you the example with BR. After saving this file, there are two ways of running this file. This file is saved in this particular location here, my website, and I can double click on formatting here to open the website using file protocol, and I can, because my XAMPP server is running, so I can open localhost. In localhost I can go to my website and then open this file here, formatting.html. You can see here both text here are bold or strong here, so I will also write some text which is not bold. I will write it as not bold, then let's say introduce a hyphen here so that you can understand the difference. So you can see here that this text is not bold, this is bold, and this is the use of this text to make a text bold. Strong is used for important text, and nowadays strong is used mostly for displaying bold text. So, but in HTML4 and earlier versions, this tag was used a lot for creating bold text. So that's why it is not made obsolete. Browsers can still read this bold text, but as a new programmer, you should always use a strong text if you want to make this text as important. You can also use B. Next is I tag. I is used for making the text italic. So I and M or emphasized text have the same work, and bold and strong have the same work. But they can be used interchangeably, but always prefer the M and strong tag. Now I will use a break between these. So by putting a BR tag here, you can put a break between various lines. So I want to print HTML bold in first line, then I want to print HTML is strong in the second line, then after that I want to put a break and I want to write I tag. I tag will make any text as italic, so I will write HTML italic. It will not make it bold, but it will make it italic. We can make a text both strong and bold. So we can write EM also. EM is used for emphasizing a text. So I is italic text and EM is emphasizing a text. This tag here, this is strong and EM are semantic, and the difference is this, and I and B are explicit in their meaning. Now we can write HTML same text we can write here so that we can see the comparison between them, and I will put a break every time so that we can see that in every line here. So you can see that HTML italic and HTML emphasize are returning the same output here. You can use any of them. We will also study a library called Font Awesome. In that library, this I tag is used for creating icons. So I will tell you about that also. Suppose we have to make a text both bold and italic. So in that case, I can copy it and I can write strong. So first it will make it, it will take the HTML M tag and HTML M word here, and it will make it emphasized first and then it will make it strong. I can use BR here so that I can put a line break. In tags which do not have a closing tag, you can close these tags by writing a forward slash here. So it is a better way of writing this tag. In this case, we are forward slash before the closing angular bracket. This is HTML EM and strong. So you can see here that this text will be made emphasized and strong. Then after writing this, you can go to next tag, which is called mark. And mark tag is used to mark a particular word, and it basically puts an underline in that word. So let's say this is marked text, and in this sentence here, this is marked text. I will write this is outside mark, and only I will put the mark here, and this will make this particular marked word as marked, and we can put a break here so that we can see it in the next line. So now you can see we have to focus on this particular line here for understanding mark. This is mark test. So in this sentence here, we have only placed the tag on this particular word. So we can write anything also. This is HTML. So you will see that other words will not be marked or other word will not be emphasized. You can see here mark is used for marking by underline, or you can call it mark also, because for underline we have different word, but it's it's like you have placed a marker over this particular word while reading. Also sometimes in books, in textbooks or in notebooks, we mark some words so that it will be easy to recognize them. And after mark, we have a small, and the work of this small is to make any particular text is look smaller in size. So I will now put HR here for creating a horizontal line. You can use HR. I will write this is normal text, and this is a small text. So for a small, I will put a small tag here, and now you can see the difference here. This is normal text and this is a small text, and this will be placed after a horizontal line. So this is normal text and this is small. You can see that the size of this text is small. For some reason, if we want to make a text as small, we can make it small. Similarly, we have another text here. I will put jar here, and in this case I will use the del keyword, which is used for deleted text. Suppose we want to show, obviously we can remove or erase a text, but for some reason if we want to show the word but make it as deleted, so you can see here that this is a deleted text, and you will see that it is this particular type of results can is called a strike through also. So in earlier versions of HTML, there was a text called there was a tag called strike. So let's try here and make it a strike. So but this tag is not supported in HTML5, so that's why we should use del tag. And let's see the example here, and I will put a break here so that we can clearly distinguish the lines. So you can see here we are getting the same result here. Using a strike also we can get the same result, but again you should not use this tag now, instead use del tag. So I will put a not, do not use, but this is not supported in HTML5. Then after a strike we have ins tag. Ins tag is used to insert something or add something. So you can, if you have to display that this particular text was added or inserted, so you can use ins tag. Now I will put HR here. I am putting HR every time so that I can make make you distinguish between various tags that we are. By HR, all the examples will be separated with each other, so it will be easy to understand. This is in INS, and I will write it as this is inserted or added text. And now, if you will see, so in case you will see underline on that particular text, in this case it is marked, and in this case it is underlined. And underline means inserted text. We can achieve the same result using U tag also. So U is used for underline as well, but again this tag is deprecated. We don't use underline text for creating underline. So I will now I will remove this, because in the documentation I have already provided you list of tags and their meaning. Then we have subscript and superscript. Subscript and superscript are used to shift the text from their um, from its level. So it is, in case of subscript, it will be slightly below the level of normal text, and I will see you examples here. So I will create HR here, and for example we have to write water is H2O. So if you will write it normally, in that case you will see that it will appear as normal, water is H2O. But when we have to write it, so we can use sub tag here. So in chemical equations, and for example you have to write O2H2 C2H5OH, if you have to provide right formula of alcohol. So everything in chemistry you will find this tag very helpful. Now you can see that water is H2O, so this is subscript. This is use of this particular tag, and after this we can create a script also. So suppose you have to provide power of something. Suppose you have to write it like 2 5 is 32. So if you will read it like this, it will look like we are saying 25 is 32, but 2 SUP, that means subscript, and so 2 subscript 5 is 32. Now if you will see this, so it will create some meaning that 2 raised to the power of 5 is 32. So this is text formatting, basic of text formatting, and you will find this really helpful in creating articles while creating web applications. Many times, again, suppose you are creating a website, a web application for chemistry, then every time a formula will come and then you have to write it this way. In case of mathematical equations, use of sub is needed, and in many cases you will find use of these things. Suppose you have to put focus on particular word, or you have to mark a particular word, so you can use mark tag. You have to emphasize a particular word, so you can use M here. So this is a use of these text, and in other or in upcoming chapters also uh, we'll keep notifying you about the use of various type of tags, and which tag is deprecated and which tag is being used, or which tag is valid and which tag is not valid in HTML5, because the current version of HTML is HTML5. Again, I'm mentioning it once again. I will create a separate video explaining the difference between HTML5 and HTML4. As a beginner, you don't have to worry too much about it, but when you will start creating applications, you will move further, then you will need to understand the difference between HTML4 and HTML5, which tag we should use, which tag we should avoid using. I will also keep telling you about those tags. And now go ahead and you can now you now have knowledge of heading tag, you have knowledge of paragraph tag. So I will open these files. So look, so we have discussed about list tag, table tag. So you now know these things. You know about list tag, you know about table tag, you also know about writing headings, you know about writing paragraphs, you know about adding images in your web page. So now you can, without a proper layout, but you can create a web page. So try creating a web page and take it as an exercise and create a web page. Try at least you can write some essay or write about any topic, write about your favorite topic. So add some headings there, add some paragraphs there, add some images there, and make your use text formatting while explaining about topic. Wherever your topic name comes, make it bold by using tags, or give some emphasis. Try including some chemical formulas. Try writing these values and see whether you are able to do it or not. I am sure you will be able to do it. Hello friends, welcome once again to our part of basic HTML programming. In this part, we are going to discuss about hyperlinks or links in HTML. For creating hyperlinks or links in HTML, anchor tag is used, and the work of this link is to provide an element on a web page where we can click and we can go to different pages, or we can also click that link to download a particular file or to view a image. We can do various sort of things. For example, here you can see in this page, here we have a sidebar, and in sidebar there are various links. Suppose you have to view the staff, you can click on view staff. If you have to add the staff, so you can click on add staff. So it is asking you to log in. You can log in using the demo credential, and then I will show you. Again, you can see here we have a button here, and by clicking on this button I have navigated to the dashboard here. So links are used for creating navigation in web pages. Links can also be used for generating reports or everything. So by clicking this report, report will start downloading. So there is a lot of use of link, and there are a lot of uses of this anchor tag here. Now I will show you some examples of anchor tag. So to show you some examples, I will create a new web page, and to create a new web page I will copy this part from here. And so we have HTML head title, and the title of this particular page is hyperlinks in HTML. Then after body, I will close the body tag, and I will then close the HTML tab. And now I will save this particular page as hyperlinks.html, and I am saving this in my directory called my website. This directory is in C drive, XAMPP, htdocs, and then my website. So I'm running XAMPP control panel here. We use XAMPP control panel to run Apache in MySQL module, so that we can run a language like PHP. If you just want to create a static websites, then also you can use XAMPP, or you can simply double click HTML files to open them in any particular browser. Because to view a HTML document, you can view them in browser like Mozilla Fire or Chrome or Opera, Internet Explorer, any browser. Now we have to create a hyperlink. Hyperlinks can be of two types, or we can give hyperlinks of three types here. So the first type of hyperlink will be used to link pages together. So suppose we have one page and we want to link to that particular page. We want the user to click on a particular text, and so that user can navigate to that particular page. Then used to link web pages of other websites. So here we can use it to link pages together, but in this case same website, we are referring to the our own website or the website in which this link will be provided. But we can use this link to link web pages of other websites also. And third is we get these this can be used to link documents or files. Now suppose we have image in our images folder and we want someone to click on a link to view that image, so we can do that. And now after creating this, I will put break here so that we'll see these tasks here, and then I will create a horizontal line here using HR tag. So make a habit of adding a forward slash. So closing those tags in which we don't have a closing tag. Now, first I will show you the first example. So in this website or in the directory in which we are currently, we can see here are many files here. So we have list.html, mypage.html, table.html. So I suppose I want to link to list and I want to link to my table. So if you want to link to those pages, so it can be any page of your website. It can be a page like about us, contact us. It can be a page like FAQ page. It can be a page where you might display your services. So you can write A. A stands for anchor tag, and then you have to write an attribute here which is called href. The work of this href attribute is to provide the link, right? And here the document that we want to link is an HTML document, and the full name of that HTML document is list.html. And because this document is in the same directory, in which our this current page is, our current page is hyperlinks.html, and in the same directory we have list.html. So we don't have to write the complete path here, we can simply write the name of this file. So that is the advantage of having pages in a same directory. So remember, if you are creating a website, while creating a website, put like pages together. So you can put like pages together, and what, so you can simply think of it as putting pages together. So now list, and after that you have to close this also. Similarly we can refer to my table also. So ahref is equal to, and then you can see in our file we have a table.html. So we will refer to table.html here and table.html, and don't forget to close the anchor tag. Now it will create two links side by side, and I will put a separator between them. This pipe sign is a separator that can be used. You can use any separator, you can not use separator, it's up to you. And now when I will run it, again to run this file we have two options. We can either double click on this file, which will open it in the default browser, which is Firefox in our case, and you can see here that we are getting something like a navigation menu here. So we can click on link. So the list.html file open, we can click on this link to open the my table file. So this is the work of anchor tag. This is one work of anchor tag, linking to our own pages, linking to the pages of that particular website. Now I will put a break here or I will put a horizontal line here to separate so that we can perform a different task. In this case, we will try to link web pages of other websites. So ahref is equal to, let's try to link to a website called Slidescope. So we can link to slidescope.com, and here I will put Slidescope. So the anchor text here is Slidescope. This text will be visible on web page, and if you will click on this link, so you will be navigated to this particular website here. Now let's reload this, and now you will see another link here. In this case, when you will navigate, so you will see that other website. You can see this website opening, but now in case of a different website, our user will navigate away from our own website. So in such cases, we use another argument which is called target, and set target is equal to blank. So if you will put target is equal to blank, so instead of opening the web page in that same folder, now I will put back here, I will reload it. So now you can see that our source code is updated. We have target is equal to blank here, and by using this target is equal to blank attribute, if you will click on links of those web pages which do not belong to us, or which do not belong to the same website, if you will click them, so you will see that it will open in other pages. So by using this, we can avoid user to navigate away from our website. Our web page will be open in the browser, so that anytime user can come back to it. So it will help us in getting our viewers back to our website and not navigating away from it. If for some reason we have to provide some hyperlinks to other website, we can provide a link to any particular website. Suppose we have to provide some attribution. Suppose we are using some work of a particular author in our web page, and we want to provide a link to it, we want to provide an attribution to it, so we can use this type of links of external websites. But remember, in case of external websites, use target is equal to blank. Now we can also link to documents or files. Suppose I have to link an image here. So in our images folder, there is an image called basket.jpg, and view basket image. So the text that I want to write is view basket image, and I want user to click on this text to view the basket image. I will again verify here that we do have such image in our folder. So if you will go to images folder, so we have this file called basket.jpg. In the example of images, in the chapter of image tag, I saved this file here. So now I will run this example also, and now you can see here, you can see one more thing here, that those links which are visited by us, the color of those links is different, and the color of those links which are not visited by us is different here. So you will click on this, and you will see that your image will now open. So users can view your images or files also. You can put a PDF file here also, and various things. Again, we are using the file protocol to view this web page, because I double clicked this formatting.html. We can also view this file using the localhost server on which this file is saved. So on localhost server of XAMPP, this file is saved in the htdocs folder, and in htdocs folder this file is saved in a directory called my website. In that my website directory, this is formatting.html. So if you will click it, so you will see, so we have hyperlinks.html, and now because we have not visited this image from this server, So that's why it is blue here, right? When you will visit this image again, this will become dark with purple colored, and this is the work of these hyperlinks. Suppose we don't want our users to view the document that we have listed here. Suppose we want users to download that document. So I will create a simple document here. This is a document, and let's say this is a text document, or it can be a document of any type. So let's say this document is of, I will put all type here, and I will make this document as abc.docx. So I have made this document abc.docx. It is of type docx, and this document is saved in our directory here, abc.docx, and you can see it's a Microsoft Word document, and docx is extension for Microsoft Word files. Now I want to provide a link in my web page, a link using which users can download that document. So I will put HR here to separate it, and then I will write, because that document is not present in any particular folder, so I can link to that document directly, or I can do one thing. I can organize my code here, and I can create a new directory here. So I can create a new folder, and I will make it as doc or documents, and in my documents I will place this documents file. Now abc.docx is the name of that file, so I can open it using Microsoft Word, or I have a text maker also. So the work of this is to not show you how to view the document. Again, I will copy the name of this document from here, and then I will go to my ahref, and here I will first write the name of that documents directory, because this file is saved in the documents directory, and then we have documents /abc.docx. So this is how you can see that you can view abc doc. So we can see, instead of writing it, we can say download abc doc, and to download abc doc I will put an attribute here that is called download. So we saw three attributes here. First attribute I demonstrated was href. Then I gave you an example of target attribute. Now I am giving you this attribute download here, telling you about this attribute download. And now let's reload our page here. So you can see download abc doc, and you will click on it. So instead of opening the document in our browser, it will download it, and it is asking to save the document. You can save the document, and you can see that abc doc is now saved in our downloads folder. So this is how we can create a download link. So these attributes are really important. First is href, target, and everything. We have another attribute for anchor tag. That attribute is called title. So we can provide a tooltip here. If a user will hover to the anchor tag, so let's say the user wants to see here. So view abc doc. So this is a title, and there can be any relevant information, and when you will take your mouse, so you will be able to see the tooltip here, that to view abc doc, click on this, or to download abc doc. So this is work of title. You can provide a relevant meaning to your link, so that if someone takes mouse over to that particular link, they can see on this link or on these links we don't have title tag, so we are not seeing anything, but on this link we have a title tag. So we can add title tag, title attribute to any particular anchor tag. So in anchor we have studied four attributes so far. First is attributes in anchor tag. So first attribute is href, which is used for creating hyperlinks. Then next attribute is target, which is used for writing target blank, or target can be self also. So in case of target blank, a blank tab is targeted. Your document will open in a new tab in the browser. Then after href and target, we have another attribute here which is called title. Title will give suitable titles to your hyperlinks, and then we have download attribute, which can be used to download a particular file. Again, if I want to make this as a comment, because I don't want to see this on front end, but still I want it in the document, so I can write a comment of multiple lines here. So just open the comment there and close the comment on line number 24. So from line number 19 to line number 24 will be commented, and you will not see it in the front end, but because I will provide these documents to you with the course, so you'll be able to see them in the HTML file. And whenever you will open this HTML file in any particular code editor like Notepad++, so you'll be able to see this, and you'll be able to remember that what was taught in this particular chapter. Now this is the basic about hyperlink tag or anchor tag, and it is very important tag because without it creating websites is nearly impossible. One page websites cannot be created with hyperlink tag. In case of one page website also we have hyperlink tag. So I will show you examples of one page website also. In that case you can link to some elements of your web page using a anchor file. So I will show you those examples. You have to understand one more thing here, that we can control the color scheme of these links. By default we have blue and this dull color here, dull blue or purple you can say. We can control the color of visited links, we can control the color of not visited links, and we can control color of every link, and we can also give it a styling. We can also add bookmarks, or like I mentioned, creating one page websites. So this is basic part of hyperlinks. When I will also create a video about advanced part of hyperlinks, and that you will learn after learning basics of CSS. So after learning CSS, I will teach you some styling in anchor tags, because for anchor tags we have a different type of styling. We can provide different type of colors here, and after learning CSS I will teach you about colors. So after learning CSS we will learn colors, about colors in link, and then I will also teach you about bookmarks in HTML. So when I will teach you about some basic tags like ID tag, ID attribute of tags, and when I will teach you about div tag. So after div tag I will teach you about bookmarks in HTML, and bookmarks also can be created using anchor tag. So after div tag you will learn about bookmarks in HTML, and after learning CSS you will learn about colors in link, and but that will all be related to anchor tags. But if I will try to explain it now, because you are just a beginner, so you might get confused here, so you can ignore this part here, you can just remember this part, and you have to focus on this example here. Let's see some examples here. For example, in this website also you can see we have various links here. So suppose you have to go to any part and you have to open any part here, so you can simply click on that particular part and you can go to that particular link. So suppose WordPress training, you can go to the link of WordPress training. In any website you will find such links. And here also in this application also, while creating ERP applications or something like that, you have to provide some hyperlinks so that people can navigate. Suppose you have to add class wise fees, suppose you have to add fees head, and suppose you have to add class, or you have to take fees. So in such cases, you have to add these things. Suppose you have to take attendance, so you will click on that particular link, then only you will be able to navigate to that particular page, because these there are different pages in a website. There are many pages in a website. Information cannot be provided in one page only. There are some websites which have only one page, but most of the websites have many pages. And to link those pages from the welcome page, so whenever you open a website, you first see the home page of that website, and from home page you can see every other page is linked here. This is what you have to learn, to link every page from every other page, and in this way you will be able to uh, create a website where, suppose I navigated to this particular website, this particular page here, add class, and from add class also you can see that I have access to all other pages of this website. So this is very important, and that's why anchor tag is really important in HTML. Hello friends, and welcome to this step-by-step web development course. In this part we are going to discuss about basic HTML programming. We have already discussed about these tags: heading, paragraph, images, list, unordered list and ordered list, table tag, formatting like bold, italic, mark, etc., hyperlinks or links, which is anchor tag. So we have done this part here. In this part, I will discuss about form tag in HTML. So form tag is a really important tag when it comes to web development, because the applications that you create, in those applications you have to store a lot of data, and one way of taking that data is by using forms. I will show you some practical use of forms so that you can understand here. So again, this is a simple application, and this is a school management ERP. So suppose you have to log in a user, you have to make user log in to any particular application. So then for login you need a form. So what we are seeing here is a form. So I can use these credentials, and now you can see that I can log into this particular website, and then I can go to dashboard. So you have seen one use of form there. Again, suppose you have to set a notice in a school. So you can set a notice by writing the notice heading and description of noting and heading everything. And you can also select date. So the controls that you are seeing here, this date element here, this text field here, this description field here, which is called text area, and you are seeing these buttons using which you can submit that data. Also, let's see some other examples also, and in this I will try to add a class here, and in this option also you can see we have a basic text fields here, and I can also add a staff. So while adding a staff, you can see that we have a staff type here, that which type of a staff is this. If you go to fees setup, and if you will go to add class wise fees, so you can see here we have drop downs here, and we can check fees of any particular month. Let's say I want to check fees of January. So and I want to check tuition fees of January for BSc first year. So you can click here and you can see that. So if you have to filter data, this is simple filtering. We are simply filtering data of BSc first year for January month and admission fees head. We are simply filtering data. We can simple filter data for any particular financial year also. So in this example, what you can see here is, so I will mention some points here, that if you have to register your users, if you want users to register, if you want them to log in, so sign up and login are forms. These are example of forms. If you want to create filter application, create filters in your application. For example, if you go to any shopping website, there you have filters. In shopping website, there are filters like price filter is there. So you can put a range to your price. Then you have a checkbox also, so that you can check what type of brands do you want. Suppose you want to buy laptop, then you can check those boxes, and so there is a price filter, then there is a checkbox, and then there is a drop down list also. In many cases, we have drop down lists which are known as select inputs. So price filter checkbox, we have radio buttons. In case of radio buttons, we can choose between two options. For example, if you have to enter your gender, male, female, or other. So these things are there. So when you have to create filters so that you can retrieve some data, then also form will be needed. If you have to enter some data, then also form will be needed. If you want to edit some information, suppose I want to edit information about any particular student. So first I will go to view students, so that I can view information of these students. And let's say I want to edit a particular student here. So suppose I want to edit this student. So suppose I want to edit section name. Let's say section is A. So you can see that I can choose, I can change class of this student, I can change section of this student, and then I can put update here. Record will be updated, and now the section will be changed. So to edit, to update, to take fees from student, if you will take fees, you can see that first we have to select financial year, and then we can checkbox, use checkbox to take fees of any particular month here. So this is the example that I want to show you, that if you want to insert data, if you want to read data, if you want to update data or even delete data, so for making those actions possible for your front end users. So you can see, as a front end user, I can see the information, I can change the information, I can enter the information, I can add stuff here. So I will insert some information. So in database, the effect will be insert, update, delete, select. So in database, these queries will run, and but from front end, we can control everything, right? We can insert that information. So form is really helpful, and that's why form has various type of inputs, and we will study about form tags and various type of inputs that are there in form tag. We will learn the syntax of that, and how we can create a basic form. So because this is a static website, so we will only be able to create a form here, but the actual work of a form can be seen in a dynamic website, where your form is connected to some backend server, where you can store the information also. Although by using something like JavaScript, we can create simple calculators, we can create EMI calculator, uh, we can create simple mathematical calculators. We can do stuff like that using JavaScript. But again, The real application of forms can be seen in web applications when you have to enter data in a database or when you have to retrieve data from some data source. Now, to create a form, I will first copy this much code here. So HTML head title, and the title of this particular file will be forms in HTML. Now this, because form is a big topic, so I will create several videos for forms. In this first part we will learn basics of form tag, and now I can save this in my website directory, in which I have saved most of the files which are taught to you in this tutorial. And here I will name this as form1.html. So this is my form1 file. To create a form, you first have to write form tag. So you can see here we have written a simple tag here which is called form, and then you can close form also. Hello friends, and I'm in this part I'm continuing my discussion of form tags. So the first attribute that this form tag has is method attribute. So I can write something like method is equal to get. We can also write method is equal to post. And if you will not write method attribute, then by default it will have its value as get. So the default method for form is get. And now we have some tags here in form tag, and the first tag that we have in form is input tag. This input tag is used to take input from users. We saw that in the previous part also, that if you have to store information, if you want to ask some information from a user, if you want to create a registration form, a sign up form, or a login form, so you have to ask them some values here, as you can see in this example here. So the first value, this is example of a form tag which is a type text. So this is of type text. So with every input tag we have a type attribute, and this type attribute can take many values. The first value that we are discussing is type text. So form type text can be used to take values like name of a person, username, and it can be used for qualification and things like that. So we can use form type is equal to text for this type of values: name, username, qualification, etc. Now we have to provide name to every tag. Here name is another attribute that is there in input tag, and this name is the identifier of this tag. So for example, if I will write f name here, and then I will create another input tag here, and in this input tag I will write lname. So this means here that I want first name and last name from the user. So in one input tag I want the user to enter the first name, and in second input tag I want him to enter the last name. So I can now navigate to my localhost, my website folder where my form1 page is saved, and here you can see that I have two input tags here and two input elements. I can write something here, and without input tags it is not possible to write on a web page by the front end user. So now you can see here user will not be able to distinguish between in which tag he or she has to write the first name or last name, or what the user has to write. So for that we can have a tag here, and that tag is known as label tag. We can put a tag here, label tag, and in label tag we simply enter the label of what is to be entered. So first name. Then after this input tag I will put a break here, so that there is a line gap between um, the first input and the second input. After second input also I will put a break tag here, and now let's look at the form. So we will see that for first input we have a label here, and this will help users in entering some values. So this is first name label and this is label for last name. I will put some gap here so that you can easily see the tags. Then there is another input which is called placeholder, and placeholder places some information inside the input box, and we can write something like enter first name. So by using placeholders, we can provide some instructions to users that what type of information should be entered in this particular tag. Now let's execute the tag once again. Now you can see that here we have some labels and some placeholder values. I will write hello. I can write anything here, hello world. And now after writing it, we cannot do anything because we don't have any action here. So to create an action, we must have some button also. You can see here that after filling the form, user can hit enter to save this information, right? So to provide or to create a button, we have an input called input type is equal to submit, because we want to submit the data, and input type is equal to submit can be used to submit the data. And then this input tag should also have some name, so we will name it as submit. And now let's see what our code looks like. You can see here it is submit query written here. So by default the text on the button that is created using input type is equal to submit has submit query written over it. So this input type is equal to submit creates a submit button, and this input type is equal to text creates a text input. So these are some elements that you can already see here. So we have a button here, and again we can give this button some value. So the value will be displayed on the button. Now by default the value that is displayed on submit buttons is submit query, but we can display our own values also. We can display something like register. So now if you will reload it, you will see that we have register written over the button. Now we have created two input fields here, and the input fields are of type text, and we have third input field which is of type submit. This name here is very important attribute in form, and for coding in language like PHP, this name input is very important because it's an identifier and it helps us in recognizing that which information belongs to which particular identifier, so that we can identify the information. Now you can see here we have not mentioned anything form method. We have not written the form method here, and now I will put some values here. Let's say first name is Mohan, last name is Sharma, and let's register here. So when I pressed register, you can see the URL has changed. Earlier the URL was like this, and now it has changed to this. So let's analyze this URL here. And so this is the URL that we got after submitting the form. In this URL, this first part HTTP localhost my website. This is the part which is your website. This is the URL of your website, and after that we have the name of page on which this particular form is there. So for example, this form is on this add staff.php page. So in similar way, in our case, this form is on form1.html page. And when the information was submitted, you can see here that we have some information here, right? So we have some parameters here. First parameter is f name, second parameter is l name, and third parameter is submit. So whatever we have written in name here, you can see whatever we have written in this name attribute here. So in that name attribute we have filled some values. So that's the main part of this. And whenever this information is submitted, that means submit is equal to register. So whenever submit will be equal to register, that means information is submitted, and submit is equal to register. Here you can see that submit is equal to register in this case. And now the first parameter will always have a question mark. So first parameter here from top is f name, and that's why it has a question mark associated with it. Then other parameters will have ampersand. So this is how we can distinguish these parameters. If you have to write the first parameter, then you have to write a question mark, then name of your first parameter is equal to and value of this first parameter, and this is how we can transfer a value from a web page to some server. So this particular URL can be any URL, and this can be URL of a server also. This can be URL of any web page, and that web page might be hosted on a server. So by using this, we can send this information to any particular server. Now these parameters are important, and we can get the values written inside these parameters using a language like PHP. We can also get these parameters using any language, like we can use ASP.NET, C Sharp also, and we can use Python with a framework like Flask or framework like Django. We can get this information. So in PHP, we can get this information by using some variables. So we'll study about those variables. For now, you have to simply understand this, that after filling a form, user can submit that value to a server URL, and then server can be coded using PHP, Python, or any other programming language to receive the values that are entered in those parameters. So that's why we are learning designing of a form here, because we want to save the value of users. So for example, here we have to add a staff to a school. So to add a staff to a school, we first have to save the information, and we can take the information using this form here. Now these two values are created, and we have not used any method here. So I told you the default method is get. I will comment this information. You from this URL, you have to remember very clearly one thing, that in case of form method is equal to get, the first parameter will always be written with question mark, and other parameters will be written with ampersand sign. Now moving ahead, let's write the method as get. So if you will write the method as get, in that case, let's say, let's write it again. So let's write some values again. Let's say John, and let's say Sina. Okay. So now I have used the method get, and in that case also we have achieved the same result here. And that's why I mentioned that if you will not write anything inside get, or if you will not write anything inside method attribute, or if you will not provide method attribute at all, so the method will be get. In case of post, so we have written method is equal to post here. So in case of post here, you will see that now if I will enter same information, so it will not be visible in the URL, but this information will be posted to the server, and server will be able to view the information, and but information will not be visible to the viewer. So method is equal to post is suitable for forms where we have to create login system. So in case of login registration, where we have passwords, so that information will be entered by user, and it will be provided to the server, and then server can be coded in a way to store that information using the post method. We will see everything in the part where I will teach you about get and post variables, these server variables. And but you have to remember that post is method is equal to post is suitable for creating login registration forms, and method is equal to get is suitable for creating search engines or search forms or filter forms, because in search you can see Google search also. In Google search we see this parameter whenever you type a query. So you will be able to see the query in Google search. You'll be able to see this question mark ampersand. So try Google search and see whether you are seeing these parameters or not. So for creating search engines or search forms where we can see the query, that what query has been posted. Now these are two fields. Let's create some other fields here. Create some basic fields here. And next field that I want to create is input type is equal to email. So here is our second or third input type. First input type is text. Second input type is submit, which is a button, and then we have email. Suppose we want to take email from users. Input type is equal to email. Name is equal to, let's say, email, and placeholder is equal to. So this is an instruction to user, enter email ID, and then you will enter email ID. So I will put a break here, and then after email ID I will put input type is equal to password. This is our next input type. So we have studied text input, email, submit, and we have password also. Let's name it as PWD, and in placeholder we will write enter password. We can create another password field for enter password again, but we will create that later. We want to see a maximum types of input so that we can understand which type of input can be where can be used, where it can be used. If you want to take email from user, so and you will write input type is equal to email. So HTML will put a validation also that the values entered inside this particular input are of email type. And if you will write input type is equal to password, so when user will enter the information, so that information will not be visible. Instead some dots will be placed there. So let's see, execute this, and now you can see, because we have not used label here, so we can see the information without label. So let's put some label here also. Email, password. Again, this label tag is not necessary, it does nothing, but it is because it is holding some value, that's why we have used a tag here. And while styling these labels, suppose we want to change the font size of these labels, font style of these labels, or we want to make these labels of any particular color, so in that case we can use these tags to put, and we can put a style attribute here, and then we can put some style to it. For example, a style is equal to color red. So this style is equal to color red is a very simple CSS property. Color is a simple CSS property, and red it is its value. To write a CSS here, you simply have to write name of CSS property, then semicolon, and then value, and then uh, name of the CSS property, colon, then value, and then semicolon. So I will teach you about CSS in a separate part, and I just want to show you what we can do with labels. So you can see here password. Now let's enter this value, and because method is equal to post here, so let's enter some value. I will write Mohan email. So I will only write Mohan here, and I will not write the full email, and in password I will write something like. Now you can see that while writing passwords, the password is not visible, and that's how a password field is created. So this is password input field, and you can see a red circle around, a red border around this input tag here, because it is expecting a value of type email, but we have written a text here. Let's click register, and when you will click on register, so because of my cookie, I will enter some other value. So you can see here actually it is giving me view saved login, but behind view saved logins actually it is not being submitted because it is showing me enter email here. To show you that I will use another URL here. So I will use another browser here and let's enter Mohan. So now you can see when I will press enter, so you will see please include at the rate in the email address. One is missing at the rate. So we have to write values of type email here, and let's say mohan at m.com, and now this value will be entered. So this is how we can create a simple form with simple registration form with first name, last name, email and password. If you want to take details of other types, like if you want to take qualification details, if you want to take parent details or city, suppose you want something like city, so you can use this input type is equal to text. Let's try that. So, and you can place your tags in any particular order here. So in this part I will ask city, and input type will be text, name will be city, and enter city name. Now when you will execute this, so you will see here we have another value here city, another input here city, and now we can enter the information here. Let's say city is Delhi, register. The part what happens after pressing registration button is the work of something like PHP language. So that part we will study in that part. In this part you are studying designing part, you are studying about HTML tags. So you should focus on what values we are, what type of tags we are putting here. So input type is equal to text, input type is equal to email, password, submit. So in the next part, we'll discuss about more type of input tags, because you can see examples here. We have drop down list. Sometimes you will see checkbox buttons. So let's say I want to add take fees here. So we'll see other option in the next part. We'll see checkbox, radio buttons, and select list and everything in the next part. Hello friends, and welcome to this tutorial of basic HTML programming for web development. In this part we are discussing our form tag. So we are continuing our discussion of form tag. So in the previous part we discussed about various types of input tags in form tag. We discussed input type is equal to text, input type is equal to email, input type is equal to password. For now I will get rid of this style. We will cover about a style attribute in the CSS chapter. So we also discussed about input type is equal to submit. We saw that when a form is submitted using get method, so in that case in the URL all the parameters are placed. These parameters are these name fields. Whatever we enter inside name attribute is the identity of this tag, and with this identity we'll be able to understand that which value is first name and which value is last name, which value is email and which value is password, and which value is city, and so on. Now in this part we'll discuss about drop down list. So you can see here, suppose I have to add a staff here. You will see I have these values here: principal, vice principal, HOD, dean, teacher. What is the type of a staff? We can have any number of values here, and this is called a drop down list. This is also called a select list, and To create a select list, we have to use a tag called select tag. So in this part, we'll discuss about select tag. Select tag is used for drop-down list. Drop-down list, and you can already see examples of select tag. So many times in web forms, you are asked to select a particular option, and select tag will be helpful there. Now let's say we have to enter select tag, and in select tag the options are created using option tag. So select tag will create a select list for us, and then option tags can be used to create a list of options. In select tag also, because it's a part of our form tag, so we have to provide some name here. So let's say we have entered qualification here. So we want to know what is the qualification of this particular person who is filling this form. We'll give him three options, him or her three options. Let's say first option is graduate, second option is postgraduate, let's say third option is PhD. So you can give any number of options here, but just for demonstration purpose I am writing three options here. I will show you the code of this particular drop down list also, so you will understand this. Now select name is equal to qualification, and option is equal to graduate, postgraduate, and third is PhD. Now we can put a break after this because we want our next element to be placed after this select list. Now if you will go to your server, and then if you will open this website here or open this web page, so you can see here that we have a drop down list here. We can apply a label to our drop down list as well, as we have applied labels to various other tags, and we can apply a label here also, and we can say select latest qualification, or we can write something like select most recent qualification. So whatever you want to write here, you can write it, and then you will see that you will be able to see the label as well. Select most recent qualification here, or we can write recent qualification also to make our labels look of similar size here. We can use a table tag to adjust the design here. I will show you that option also, but in this part I will just show you about various types of input that are there in a form tag. Now you can see the use of select list here. After select list, I will show you another example. Let's say we have another input type here, and input type is equal to radio here. So in case of radio button, we can write input type is equal to radio, and then in radio button is used when you have couple or more values, and person has to select only one value out of the two or three values that we have. So an example for a radio button is gender. So I will write select radio name is equal to gender, and value is equal to, let's say, male. So the difference between this tag and other tags is this, that in this tag we have to enter the value also. In other input tags that we have used so far, we have not entered value, because in other examples value will be provided by users. In case of select tag and in case of uh, radio tag and checkbox, we have to provide value here. So in select tag also we can provide value. We can say value is equal to grad. So grad is short for graduate. You can write value is equal to PG. PG is short for postgraduate and value is equal to PhD. So you can see here that we can save some text here by entering grad, PG and PhD in the database instead of graduate, postgraduate and PhD. So when we will study about saving values from a select list in database, then you will understand the meaning of this. So we show people a different thing, but for our reference we store short form of them. We can also store G here, G, PG and P. So we know that we have assigned coding G to graduate, PG to postgraduate and P to PhD. So it's as per our assumption, it saves data. Now we also have input type is equal to radio, and radio button is used for mostly for gender like value, where person will select only one option. The person will select either male or female. So male, we can copy this. So input type is equal to radio, gender is equal to female. Now in case of input type is equal to radio, we have two radio. So if we have to provide n number of values, so we have to create n number of radio button tags also. So let's say we have three genders here, so male, female, other, and so in this case you will see that the person will have three options to select from, and the value is the deciding factor here. But if you will execute it, so you will see here that we don't see any label here. So with every radio button you have to provide a label also. So let's provide some label here. So with every radio button I will provide a label. First label will be select gender, because you will ask user to select gender, and for this I will write male, and for the second input type is equal to gender I will write female, and for third I will write other. Now we have a label and an input, then we have another label and another input here, and third label and third input for gender. Now we can put break here, and we can put break here also. So after every label and input pair we will put a break, so that values are clearly visible. And now you will see that we have select gender, and then we can select male, female, other. You can see here that we can select only one input. Whenever we are selecting the other input, the selected input is cleared, and it is because of this name here, because we have provided the same name for three columns or for three inputs here. So if you will provide same name for three inputs, in that case only one of selection of only one such input will be possible, and then when this form will be submitted, so in gender you will get either male or female or other. So for demonstration purpose I will make the form method as get, and now I will fill this form and submit it, so that values will be available here, and then we will analyze it. So let's say person's name is Mohan, email ID is .com, password is something, city is, let's say, Delhi, most recent qualification is postgraduate, and gender is, let's say, male. Register, and now you will see that we have some values here. I will copy these values and I will paste it in MS Paint so that we can analyze it. So I will paste it in a text box here. So you can see here that we have the first part here is, I will break the parts in several lines. So the first part is our website address, that is localhost / my website. Our website is running on localhost server and the code is placed inside my website directory. The form1.html is the page. First parameter is fname is equal to Mohan. I have already mentioned that with first parameter we always use question mark. Then second, third and fourth parameter and whatever number of parameters after first parameter are, they will have %, written in front of them. This is kind of a separator here which separates various parameters. So question mark will separate from the rest of the URL. That means this, the entry after this question mark is a parameter. Is equal to means again assignment operator, and a value of Mohan is assigned to this particular parameter here, which is fname. Similarly, lname is the second parameter and value Sharma is assigned to it. Then we have third parameter here, email %40m.com. So it is email %40m.com. Then we have fourth parameter and password is equal to 4 times A and city is equal to Delhi and qualification is equal to PG and gender is equal to male and submit is equal to register. Submit, when submit is equal to register, that means the form is submitted. This is the meaning of it. Now here MOH, and you can see %40 here. So this %40 is actually a symbol for @. So instead of @ in URL, %40 is written. Instead of a space, %20 is written. So we will deal with that also in some other part. So the code for @ is %20 in URL, and %20 it's a space and %40 is a code for @ sign. Whenever you will try to see @ sign or space in a URL, so you will see these signs instead of @ or space. Now you can see clearly that we have these values here and gender is equal to male. So that's what we want to conclude from this part. I want to conclude it that the selected gender value will be displayed in gender, not all three values. But you can see that the name of parameter is same for all the three values. You can see here name of the parameter is same. Now let's try to enter some other value. So I will clear everything from here. Let's say Shruti M, and let's say Rajamoli, and email ID is shruti@m.com. Password is ABC. City is, let's say, Chennai. Postgraduate and female. Now I have used one space in the name because I want to demonstrate you one thing here. So you can see here that in case of spaces, when you enter spaces in the name, so it will add a plus sign here. So we will again analyze it. So you can see here that in name I entered as Shruti M and last name. Actually In this name you can see we have Shruti plus M. Suppose the first name was such that Shruti M or whatever. This is just for demonstration purpose. So now you can see here that we have other values, and here the value of gender is female. So whatever user will choose as per the choice of user, as per the selection of user, the value will be displayed. And this is the work of radio button in forms. In the next part we will discuss more input types in forms. Hello friends, welcome once again to our basic HTML programming for web development. We are discussing form tag. We have discussed about many input tags in form tag. We have discussed about input type is equal to text, input type is equal to submit, input type is equal to email, input type is equal to password, input type is equal to radio. We have also discussed about select list, which is a drop down list for selecting from some given options. Now in this part we will discuss about some other input tags, and first I will show you examples of what we are going to discuss here. So this is a basic application here where we want to enter some details. I will go to dashboard of a school management system. In this school management system you can see here that for setting a notice here, you can see that you can set notice. So setting a notice here, for setting a notice you have to provide a heading here, then you have to select the date for that notice so that it will appear there. So many times we have to ask date from a customer. For example, if we want the client or we want the user to enter the date of birth, so in that case we can have date. We have, suppose we are creating an online examination system, and we have to provide date of examination, so in that case also we have to save date in the database. So many times this date input will be needed, and there is a simple input type which is called date here. So I will put break here so that I can create my new tag from line number 46. So I will create a new tag here which will be called as input type is equal to date, and input type is equal to date, and name is equal to, let's say, DOB. So we are getting some values from user. We are getting gender, qualification, email, password, city, first name, last name, everything. We are creating a registration form here, and in registration form we are asking for date of birth also, and we will save this value in database. So in input of type date, we don't write placeholder and we don't write values, because values will be entered by users. So what we can do here is we can put a label over it. So let's say label is enter date of birth. Now we can write date of birth without abbreviations also. So here we have input type is equal to date, and let's see how this input looks. So I will clear the form from previous input and reload it. Now you can see we have entered date of birth, and when you will left click on it, you will see a calendar here. So every browser processes this date input differently. So in every browser the design of this calendar will be different, because this tag is processed by browsers. If you will see this from a mobile browser, then again it will as per your mobile browser's default date selection, and let's see it in another browser here. So this is another browser. We have copied and pasted the code here. In this browser you can see the input is looking a bit different from what we were seeing here. So that's what I want to inform from this video, that for different type of browsers, date input will be processed differently. Now we can put Control Shift I and we can click this icon here. So we have some emulators here, so you can see that how our website is looking currently in, or if this code will be viewed in a Galaxy S5 mobile, so how will this code look. So when we will learn about responsive designing, so in that case this will be used a lot. And so this is inspector here, and in Chrome we can bring this inspector by pressing Ctrl Shift and I. So press Ctrl then Shift then I. Now we have discussed about input type is equal to date. We can place any number of input type is equal to date. Suppose we are creating a hotel management system, and in hotel management system we have to put check-in date and check-out date. In case of flight booking also you see that date of booking and date of arrival. So there can be forms with 2 date inputs, 3 date inputs. We can enter any number of date inputs. After input type is equal to date, we have another type of input, that is checkbox. So I will put a break here, and then I will provide some information about checkbox here. To create a checkbox, we can write input type is equal to checkbox. CHECK. Now input type is equal to checkbox. Let's say we want to make an input for hobbies. We have some set of hobbies and we want user to select from those set of hobbies. Or suppose this registration is being done for some sports. So what do you play, or what do you like to play? So input type is equal to checkbox, and we will give the user some options. From those options, user can either check 1 or 2 or 3, or you can check all items. So this is meaning of checkbox, where we can select any number of items, and in this checkbox the name will be C1, which stands for check 1, and value will be, let's say, cricket, and just in front of it I will write cricket. Then I will put a break here so that in the next line I can see the other input, and here I will copy this line 4 times, and C1, this will be C2, this will be C3, and this will be C4. You can give them any names, but for me it is checkbox 1, checkbox 2, 3 and 4, and there will be name of 4 sports. So let's say cricket, tennis. Suppose it's an academy, and in that academy only these 4 sports are taught. What do you like to play? Badminton, and let's say football. Again, these are just examples. As per the real requirement, there will be different type of options for every type of input. I am just giving you some examples so that you can understand that what is the meaning of these input tags, what is meaning of input type date, what is meaning of input type checkbox, what is meaning of input type radio, what is difference between a radio button and a checkbox, what is difference between a radio button and a select input. So we are discussing that, and how we have to provide the identifiers for them. You can see here that in case of radio button we provide same identifier for them. So name is equal to gender is in all the cases, but here we have to provide different names, because there can be a person who will select only cricket, there will be a person who will select only tennis, there will be person who will select all four values. So any combination is possible here, and then you can see that the values that I want to take from it is in small letters. I can take short form of it also. Let's say crick 10 bad and foot. So again we will, when we'll save these values, and at the time of retrieval we will again change it back to original value. So this saves data when we will do PHP programming. So in that case I will discuss how we'll do that, but for now you can save it like this, or you can save full names also, and let's say football. Now after this, after writing everything, let's execute this. And now you will see that in our registration form we have radio buttons. So when you select radio button, you can select only one value. This is the same case with drop down list also. In drop down list also you can select only one value, but there are some attributes in drop down list using which we can make it multiple select also. So I will show you an example here. So on this website here we have another application. So this is an another application which is for exam speed test. It is an online examination taking application, but the part that we want to discuss here is this student registration part. And in this student registration part you will see a drop down list here, and this drop down list is something more interesting. In this drop down list you can see here that we can select multiple values. For example, a student is registering for IBPS mock test as well as SSC mock test. So student can press control and then select both values at once. So we'll see the source of it, and I will select IBPS mock. So here you can see that while creating this list we have made it, the name is written like an array here, and we have used an attribute called multiple here. So I will just discuss about this list also, but let's first finish our checkbox thing here. So these are different type of selections that we can give to user, and you can take these examples. You can access these websites from their URL, and you can see the source code here to find these values. So in case of this checkbox field, you can see, let's select some date here, and in case of this checkbox field you can see that user can select all four of them, or user can select any one of them, three of them. So user can select any particular combination of these values. So this is how we can create such a checkbox. And when these values will be entered, so you will see here that C1 is equal to crick, and C2 is equal to 10, and C4 is equal to so whatever values will be checked. Let's check only cricket, and let's press register here. So you will see that we are getting only C1 is equal to crick here. So if only one input is selected, if only one checkbox is selected, we will get only one value. If all values are selected, then we will get all values. And based on these inputs, we will do our programming. We will write the logic for it. Now it's time to discuss about how we can create a select list in which we can select multiple values. So create a select list in which we can select multiple values. It is very simple here. So we'll make this list as multiple. Actually, the logic of making this list multiple is not correct. So we'll create another list, because Recent qualification will be either graduate or postgraduate or PhD. So we'll create another list. Suppose we are we have to enter something like which course you are interested in. So you have to ask something like this. So course of interest or what. So you can simply write interested in, and then we can create your select list. So I will select, I will copy this list from here, and interested in, I will remove the label from it because the label is interested in. Select name is equal to, I will write it as interest. Here let's say IBPS, SSC, RRB, these are three examinations. So I, S and R. So these are short forms which we will store in our database. And while writing the name, you have to write a square bracket here. So if you want to make your list, if you want to make your select list as multi-select, in that case you have to write a square bracket here, and then after writing a square bracket, you have to write multiple here. So this is another attribute that you have to add in your select list. So select name is equal to interest, which will give it an identification, and then multiple. Now let's execute this and see. So what we can execute this, and now you will see that interested in IBPS, RRB, SSC, RRB. So if the user wants to select only one input, they can select only one input, but if they want to select all of them, so they can press control and select all. If they want to select any two, so this is another way of writing a select list also. So instead of something like a checkbox, we can give something like this also. Now let's press register here, and you can see here that interested is equal to R, right? You can see here that interested is equal to R, and let's select some more values here, and here also you can see interest is equal to S, interest is equal to R. So this square bracket, for opening and closing square brackets, we are seeing some percentage 5 and B percentage sign here. So but again, when we'll study more, when we'll study PHP, then I will show you how you can handle these values. So this is another type of input that we can use in a form, and we can take values from users. Suppose we have to take input from user, and let's say the input is a description. So in case of a text value, you can see user can enter only limited information because the width of a text value, width and height of a text value is really small. So you can take only small values here like name, qualification, and things like that. But if you have to take a description, or suppose you have to ask address of user, so you know that in address of user we have a more number of characters, and suppose you want some text from user, that or some article you have to enter. So in that case you can use another input type. So it is not written as input type, but it is written as text area, but it is used in forms. So text area, and text area has a closing tag also. So we have studied two such tags which have opening and closing tag in form. First is select, and second is this text area. Rest of input tags, we don't need closing tags for them, we only have opening tag, so we don't need closing tags for them. In case of text area, when you will write text area, so you have to provide it a name. Let's say text area name is equal to about, and before text area I will write some label here. So label, I will write enter bio. So we want some details from the user, and here we can enter something like enter bio here, and then when you will see this text area in action, so you can go to front end. I will clear this, and when you will execute it, so you will see that we have text area here where enter bio here is written, and you can see here we have more number of lines here, so we can expand it and we can write more number of lines here. So this is work of text area. We can take those input which have larger number of text, larger number of words or characters, we can take them in text area, something like a bio or something like a address or something else. So we'll see other examples where we'll use text area. Suppose you are creating a content management system and you want authors to write their respective articles. So for writing articles, this text area can be used. So these are some basic input tags using which we can start creating forms. I will show you a complete list of input tags also. So here we have a complete list of tags. So we have input type is equal to button. So whatever we have done, I will write D in front of it. So we have done input type is equal to button. We have done input type is equal to checkbox. We have not done color. We will do input type is equal to date. Then we have date time local. This is not done. We have done input type is equal to email. We have not done input type is equal to file. So in front of those inputs which are not done, I will write across so that we can do it in the other parts of this video. I mentioned that input type. Yeah, I mentioned that form is a vast topic, and form is very important because most of the programming is done using forms, because we have to insert data, update data, delete data, and that you have to give control to the user. So you have to give control to the user of doing that. You have to give control to enter values, delete values, edit values, and for that form will be needed. We have not done hidden. Then we have input type is equal to image also. We have input type is equal to month, input type is equal to number, input type is equal to password we have done. So I will write D here. We have done input type is equal to radio. Input type is equal to range is not done. Input type is equal to reset. It creates a reset button. We have not done this. Input type is equal to search is used for creating a search box. Again, input type is equal to submit. I think. Okay, so input type is equal to submit we have done. Input type is equal to button is same as input type is equal to submit. Then we have tell, text, time, we have URL and week. So you can see that for a date we have various type of inputs. Now I will do one thing. I will save this particular file as HTML and input tags .html, and after every input I will write break tag here. So I'm going to pause this video. I will put break after every line. So now you can see here that I have written the name of every input in front of it, and then I have written D, and I have saved this document as HTML. And now just for demonstration I will run it for you. So I will go to localhost my website, and in that we have this file called input tags.html, and now you can see that uh, we have various type of inputs. So this is a button input. So you can see a button is made here. In case of button input, if you will not write name here, so you have to write name. Let's say name is equal to ABC, and then you have to provide value also. So in case of a button tag, you have to write name and value. Let's say value is equal to go, And now when you will reload it, so you will see that that text will be written inside it, and it is used to submit forms, but we use the submit button instead most of the times. Then we have this checkbox. We have already discussed about checkbox. We have this color input. Suppose you have to ask user to enter some color here, so you can select OK. So you can see here that we can enter color using this input. In many cases you have to ask color information. And then we have date. We have already discussed about date. Then with date we have date time input also. Suppose instead of just date we have to ask for date and time. Again, for creating an online examination, so here we have online examination system. And in online examination system, uh, any particular exam starts at certain date and certain time. So at time of creating exams, this date time can be asked from user. I will show examples here. So user can enter using this arrow. User can enter the time. Let's say 7:50. So if you have to provide a time like 7:50, so you can set it like, so it's 7:50 a.m. and in at what date? So let's say 16/4/2020 7:50. So this is the work of date time. Then we have email. So we have already discussed about email, that when you want user input in form of an email, this is input type is equal to file. Again, input type is equal to, it will take you to your computer's folders from where you can select any particular type of file, and then name of that file will be displayed here. Let's select this file here. So you can see here that name of this file is being displayed here. So I will create a separate video for how to upload files using HTML and PHP. So in that video you will see how we can use this input. Next we have hidden input. You can see here that we cannot see the input here. So hidden input is really useful for programming when we have to enter some value but we don't want to show that to user. So we have calculated that value using some type of logic, and we have put the value in the form. So you will see here that input type is equal to hidden is there. So we can put some value to it, and when the form will be submitted, so that value will also be received, but it will not be visible to user. Then we have image button here. So again I will show you the use of image input. We have month input here. So in this case you can select the value, but the month will be entered. So month and year will be entered only. Then we have number input. So in case of number input you can enter mostly numbers. So you can enter some value here, and you can increase the number and decrease the number using these arrows here. We have password input. We have already discussed about it. We have radio button. We have discussed about radio button, how we can use. Then we have range input. So you can see we have a slider here. So in range input we can give some attributes. So we can give attributes like min and max. So I will go to range part here, and in range I will enter these two attributes. So let's say min is equal to 0, max is equal to this, and let's say the name of this input is, let's say the name is price here. So now we can execute it, and now you will see that in range we, so the is in this is scale here. When user will slide it, so between the range of 0 to 10 a value will be selected. So I will show you an example just for this range function. So I will create a new form here, and I will write it as form. So the examples that we have not discussed, so I will show you examples of those input tags. Although these examples will be covered in their respective chapters, or whenever we'll need them in real web development. In this case, I will leave form method is equal to get, so that we can get the value that will be there at the time of submission. And then next form I will take submit here, so that we can submit the form. So these two values I am taking here. So I am putting minimum value is equal to 0, and let's say maximum value is equal to 10,000. So I will save it as range test.html. So I will go to localhost and Wi-Fi, and then from this folder I will select the range test.html. And now you can see here that we have this slider here, and let's say I will put my slider to this value here, and I will put submit. So you can see price is equal to 7482. So because this slider has minimum range of 0 and maximum range of 10,000. And as for design, we can also put 0 here, and we can put 10,000 at the end. So that it will be more clear to the user what value he is selecting. So we can select somewhere between 0 to 10,000. Now there will be codes where we'll be able to display it also to the user how what is being selected here. So we'll use some other inputs, but this is the work of range input here. Now we'll go back to the tag that we were discussing here. Next we have reset. Suppose you want to reset everything to default. In that case you use the reset button. Let's see. So we can put input type is equal to submit here, and we can also put input type is equal to reset. So when you will put this in a form tag, and let's say we have selected this value, let's press reset, and you will see that values that are entered or anything that is entered will be cleared here. You can use reset to clear all the values. Then search is simple input box and with a cross sign, so that whatever you have typed you can delete it and you can search it again. So this is again useful for creating a search engine in your application. We have discussed about submit. Again, in case of tell, so tell is used for taking user telephone values. Most of the browsers which do not support tell, so they will just make it as a simple text box. So that's the work of tell. Then we have text. We have already discussed what is meaning of text. It is used to take values like name, qualification, parents name, blood group, anything we can ask in text. Then we have only time. So you can see here that we can use these arrows to adjust time, and here also you can see we can adjust this arrow to set a particular time. And we have URL. Again, this type of function is used to take a URL. So let's try URL here, and so I will copy URL tag format so that we can access it. Suppose we want to take input from user, and that input is URL, and the name of this URL is, let's say, website. So we want to ask the user about their website, and then I will run it here. So in range test, suppose I have entered ABC, submit. So you can see here that it is validating that please enter a URL. You have not entered a URL. Let's enter http://google.com, and let's adjust this range. And now you will see that URL is entered, and that particular URL will be now submitted to the server. So this is work of URL. So these tags have some validations of their own. For example, email tag, email input tag has a validation of its own. So if you will not write in email form, so user will not be able to enter it. Your user should always enter an @ sign in the email input, then only the user will be able to submit the form. So this is work of this input tag, which is called URL here. If for some reason you want URL or website detail from users, let's see example here. And then we have week also. So for date we have month, we have date time local, we have date, and we have week also. We have time only. So for date we have various type of inputs here. So in this you can select the week, and then week 15 2020 you can get the week value here. Again we can view this same input in various type of browsers, and you can see that in every browser the effect is pretty much similar here. But for range you will see different type of inputs here. You can see that this is Opera, and this is showing the range as this value here, and this is Google Chrome, it is showing range as this value, and in case of Mozilla you can see that range is being displayed as this time, but the work is similar. And here we can see color like this. So this particular thing is about various type of input that we have. So I will show you about color, which is left here. Most of the things are discussed. So I will put color here, and I will give it a name. We want to see what value is entered when we select a particular color here. Let's say color, and now I will run it. So I will run this range test.html, on which we have placed most of our inputs. So let's put some range here, let's put some URL here, and let's select some color. Let's say I want to select white color. So white color is selected, submit, and you can see that color is equal to FFF. So 6 times F is selected, and it will return the, so I will write it here, it will return the hexadecimal value. So every color can be represented with their hexadecimal values. For example, 6 times F is for white, and 6 times 0 is for black, and every color falls between these two colors. So if you will select any color randomly, so it will be some value, and for we have 6 characters here, and for every character they can take a value between 0 to 9 and A to F, so not more than F. So every character here can take only 0 to 9 and A to F values, because in hexadecimal system we have values from A to F and 0 to 9 only. So we can put 9 in this, 6 nines in this, and that may be a value of color for some particular color. So let's select some other random color here and see what value we are getting. So let's select black here, so that we can verify that 00 is selected. Submit it. Here you can see 6 zeros are selected, and let's select any random color, and you will, let's select this color here, blue color. Submit it. Now you will see a random value here. So these are the 6 values, and you will see that you will not see anything more than F. So this is work of these input tags. I think I have discussed a lot about these input tags, and when we'll create some real web applications, so use of these tags will be more clear to you. You will see the practical examples of these tags. For now, we have discussed how we can take values using these tags. We can use either a get method or post method. And when we'll study PHP, so I will also show you how you can show those values in using PHP, and how you can insert those values in database using PHP and MySQL.